Welcome back to my channel. I'm Una and here I do project planning and other related content, and today I have excuse me, today I have my inventory for 2023. Woo! Happy New Year. I'm finally back at home with all my stuff. I have literally all of my makeup in front of me right now, so I will be referencing things when I talk about things I moved, changed, added. Not all of them, but anything I find important. So I have my handy dandy spreadsheet here and I'm gonna go through. I have this section of my spreadsheet that's all about my inventory numbers over time, and I decided to, inspired by Rebecca Morgan, add a section about what I acquired, decluttered, finished, and then also things that I reassigned into a category or reassigned out of a category, because I do that a lot. And so the acquired, decluttered, finished does not show the whole picture. It does not show the whole picture at all. So yeah, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about some goals I set for myself, kind of like August, September-ish, and whether or not I met those goals. And then I'm also going to tell you, I have so many ideas. I'm going to tell you the total value of my collection, because I think that's interesting and I started keeping track of it, and like a couple other little fun things here, how many years of things I have. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so the first category for me is primer. I also have pictures of everything, so I'm not gonna show you literally everything in my hands. At the beginning of 2020, I had 0. At the beginning of 2021, I had 3. At the beginning of 2022, I had 1, and now I have 2. So that's gone up by 1. I don't really care. I acquired 1, I didn't finish any. I love data so much, I am going to do the past 3 years for all of these, but it might be a little bit annoying, so sorry. In terms of foundation, at the beginning of 2020 I had 0, then I had 1, then I had 1, and now I have 0. I finished 1 foundation and I haven't purchased any. At the beginning of 2020 I had 2 powders, then in 2021 I had 3, then I had 3 at the beginning of this year. I acquired 1. I finished 3 powders, but I also reassigned 3 powders into this category. Some powders that used to be in my highlight category that I realized didn't really highlight, I put in my powders, so I have 4 now, which is 1 more than I started with, even though I finished 3, if that makes sense. I'm very proud of my powder empties this year. I'm hoping I can do it again next year. In terms of sprays, I had 2, 2, 2. At the beginning of this year I had 2. I acquired 2. I decluttered 1 to a friend, and I finished 2. So now I have 1. I'm pretty sure that makes sense. Yeah, 1 I bought at the beginning of this year. I used it up all the way throughout the year, and then I finished it just a couple weeks ago. So yeah, and then I bought another one. All right, concealer. I had 2 in 2020, then I had 4 in 2021, 4 in 2022. I acquired 0, I decluttered 1, finished nothing, and so I have 3. So I'm hoping to finish 1 or 2 this next year, but right now I have 3. At the beginning of 2020, I had 1 bronzer. 2021, I had 2. 2022, I had 3. This year, I decluttered 1 to a friend, so now I have 2, which feels pretty good. I'm not too mad about that. Powder blush. At the beginning of 2020, I had 3. At the beginning of 2021, I had 7. At the beginning of 2022, I had 6. I decluttered 1 to a friend. I reassigned 1 blush to be a highlighter, I believe. I think it was this blush duo. I reassigned this powder to be a highlighter. And then I reassigned 2 other products into this category. So this powder, I now consider a blush. It used to be in my highlight category. And I repressed 4 eyeshadows into this pan that I'm now counting as a blush. So there's been some change, but I still have 6. All right, in terms of cream and liquid blush, at the beginning of 2020, I had 2. At the beginning of 2021, I had 4. At the beginning of 2022, I had 7. This year, I acquired 2. I think it was 1 cream and 2 liquid. Acquired 2. I decluttered 1 to a friend. I didn't finish any. I didn't reassign anything out of this category, but I did reassign a lipstick. I pressed it into this pan, and now I have 1 additional cream blush. So that means I've gone from 7 to 9, which is not the best, but it's also not that bad. I think as long as I keep it below 10, I feel pretty good about it, and I just don't keep buying stuff when I don't need it. All right, powder highlight. This one's really exciting. At the beginning of 2020, I had 19, then I had 23. I had 23 at the beginning of this year. I acquired none. Very proud of myself. I decluttered 3 to 3 different people. No, 1 to one person, 2 to another person. I reassigned 8 out of this category. So a lot of those were these 4 eyeshadows. They're now in eyeshadow pans. These were from the Carly Bible palette. They're now in my eyeshadow collection. I need to remember. The other 4 was this e.l.f. palette. So this has 3 powders and a blush, or three that are in my powder category and 1 that's in my blush category. So those 4 left went to powders and blush. The other 4 left and went to eyeshadows. Okay, and then I did reassign 1 into this category, which again was from this blush duo, if that makes sense. And oh crap, I didn't put in my most recent declutters. I decluttered 3 to people, but I also decluttered 3 to the trash because they're very old and I never wear them. That is 3 of my depotted Aurora palette, like this one I'm keeping, but 3 of these I decided to get rid of. So that means that I only have 10 powder highlighters. And I am so happy. That's such a huge weight off my chest. I really feel like I could actually like pan these now. No, a lot of them are pretty old, and so I probably won't pan like the Aurora Glow Kit ones or even fully the Carly Bible ones, depending on how they perform, but I feel so much better about my powder highlighters. All right, cream and liquid highlight. At the beginning of 2020, I had 0. At the beginning of 2021, I had 5. Then at the beginning of this year, I had 6. This year, I acquired none. I decluttered 1, which was a shade too dark for me. I finished 2, which I'm super proud of. They were both minis, but I did finish them, and I reassigned none. So that means that I only have 3, and I'm very happy with that. I'm planning to use another up this next year, and hit pan on some. So yeah. Brow products, I had 3 in 2020, 5, 3 again. This year I acquired 1 and finished 2, so I have 2. I think that makes sense. Eye primer, I had 1, then 2, then 2. I acquired 1 this year and didn't finish any, so I have 3, which is kind of upsetting, but this one is super tight. Like, I'm gonna finish this in the next couple months, so I'm not too mad. And the one I bought, I had my eye on for a long time. It's the NYX Glitter Primer, so it's like a little bit more than just a normal eyeshadow primer, and I'm hoping that it will help me make use of my collection better. In terms of pencil liner, in 2020, I had 8. By 2021, I had 4. That was from decluttering. Then at the beginning of this year, I had 3. I finished 1. I was so proud of it. And so now I only have 2. It's 1 black and 1 nude. So I'm hoping to actually use both of these up in the next year, but I might buy another one and end up with like 1. I think 1 or 2 is fine, although probably fewer is still better. All right. Liquid liner, I had 2 in 2020, 2 in 2021, 2 in 2022. I did finish 1 this year, but then I realized that I had never actually put my freckle pen in a category. That's this ColourPop freckle pen, and I decided to put it in the liquid liner category because I do actually enjoy using it as like a liquid eyeliner, not just a freckle pen. In terms of a freckle pen, it's like very cool toned and quite dark, so sometimes it looks really weird on me even though I have natural freckles, but as like a super sheer brown eyeliner, it's really nice. So I still have 2. I reassigned something into this category, which I had forgotten to put in a category. In terms of potted liner, this one's embarrassing, but in 2020 I had 1, then I had 5 in 2021, 5 again at the beginning of this year. I acquired 7, which is not ideal. I made a big liner from, big order, oops, from Glisten Cosmetics. I decluttered 2 to a friend who was interested in trying them. I finished none, and so I have 10. So not great, but I don't see this number going up anytime, literally at all. All right, in terms of mascara, I had 1 in 2020, then 2, then 2. I acquired 4. I got 1 mini for free. I bought 1 from AOA. I used up both of those. I also used up the ones I started the year with, which were also mini. And then I was gifted 2, which I'm not mad about. So I still have 2, so we're all good. Okay, bullet lipstick. In 2020, I had 7. By 2021, I had 11. At the beginning of this year, I had 14. I think I have it in my In my records, it says I had 15, but I've looked back at the pictures and I had 14, and I can't figure out what could possibly have been the 15th thing, so I either had 15 or 14. I acquired 5 this year, which is a little bit more than I'd like to. I decluttered 2. I finished 1. I reassigned 1 out of this category to be a cream blush, and I reassigned 1 into this category. This is similar to the freckle pen, except this is a lipstick I lost like 2 years ago. It's a tiny little trial size of Bare Minerals. It doesn't even say the shade name or anything. There's only that much product in it. This was from the Bare Minerals set I've been working on with like this bronzer and a powder that I finished earlier. Like, I know that I had this. I got it in 2019, and I knew that there was a lipstick in it, but I didn't know where it was. But I was looking through stuff for my inventory literally yesterday and just found this, and I'm actually wearing it as a blush today. I really like it. I would love to finish this up and have that be a successful finished item. Anyway, so 1 appeared out of thin air. I found it in a bag. So I have 16, so that's 1 or 2 more than the beginning of the year, which is not great, but I'm okay with it. Liquid lipstick. In 2020, I had 9. In 2021, I had 8. At the beginning of 2022, I had 10. I acquired none. I finished 1, and I decluttered 5. So now I have 4. That's a big declutter. A lot of them did go bad, and I decluttered a lot at the beginning of the year and then just kind of forgot about it. Yeah, I only have 4 now, which I'm really happy with. 3 of them are the Luxe formula, which I love from ColourPop. It's like my favorite liquid lip formula. 1 is a blotted lip formula, which is very finicky. I don't really like it, but it still is good for now, I think. Yeah, so I'm gonna try and get some good use on it this year, and I'll probably declutter it at the end of this year. And that's fine, it's whatever. All right, lip gloss. In 2020, I had 4. By 2021, I had 10. Then at the end of 2020, or at the beginning of 2022, I had 13. I acquired 1 this year. I decluttered 3 that were really old, and I finished 3. This is because I counted my lip balm in this category, tinted lip balm that I finished at the beginning of this year. I didn't reassign any. So I will say right now I'm currently missing 1, which is my, what's it called? Kopari glossy lip glossy. I hope that that's just somewhere around my apartment or in a bag or in a pocket somewhere, and not that I lost it while I was traveling, although that is certainly possible. So if it's lost, I'll count it as a declutter next year. Like in 2023, I'm not gonna worry about it right now. So I'm gonna still say that I have 8, which is the number I have now. For lip liner, I've had 4 in the past. I had 4 at the beginning of this year. I decluttered 2 to a friend and I didn't finish any, so now I have 2. Cream eyeshadow, I had 3 at the beginning of 2020, then I had 4 in 2021, 4 at the beginning of 2022, and I decluttered 2 this year. Yeah, I decluttered 1 to a friend and 1 to the trash because it was very old and dried out. Eyeshadow palettes. At the beginning of 2020, I had 8. By the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, I had 17. You can tell that 2020 was a big year for me. By the end of that year, at the beginning of 2022, I had 15. I acquired 1 palette. That was this Natasha Denona mini palette. I decluttered 3 to friends and classmates. I finished 0, but I did reassign 3 out of this category and into my singles. So I depotted 3 palettes, and I'm very happy with that decision, although it makes my numbers a little bit funky. So I only have 10 palettes now, and I'm very happy with that number. I want to keep it around that number or below, although I don't want to depot a ton going forward. There's nothing on my mind to depot at this point. I don't really have any super old palettes. I do have, obviously I have palettes that I got in 2020, but before that, all of them are singles. All right, and then eyeshadow singles is where it really goes crazy, and that's why I like to count in my inventory individual pans of eyeshadow, because it gives a much more accurate account of how much stuff I actually have. So in terms of eyeshadow singles, at the beginning of 2020, I had 6. At the beginning of 2021, I had 38, mostly due to depotting. At the beginning of 2022, I had 83 again. I did acquire quite a few singles, I think, over this time period, but a lot of it was depotting. This year I acquired 7, which I feel really good about. It's a super low number. I decluttered 3. Those were mostly after depotting the Magic Mini palette. I finished 2 single eyeshadows. One was in a palette at the time, but then I turned it into singles, so I'm counting it as a single eyeshadow because I can't say I finished a palette, you know? And one was single from my depotted Modern Renaissance, which I depotted a while ago. I reassigned 4 into that blush that I showed you earlier, and I reassigned 45 into this category. So I didn't buy them, but they increased the number from eyeshadow palettes. So I started the 2022 with 83, and now I have 127. That is including these 5 single Super Shock shadows, which throws me off sometimes. I don't feel horrible about that number because I know I only bought 7 and I didn't finish 3 eyeshadows this year, but it is definitely peaking. I will say, for example, this is where I keep all of my like standard eyeshadow pans, circular 26mm pans, and right now I have 4 too many. They're these 4. These 4 could not fit in this when I had all of my eyeshadows in it. I've since moved a couple around, but I want to be able to fit all of my 26mm pans in this palette. It's 70 eyeshadows. I feel like that's very reasonable for this specific type of pan. And I'm hopeful if I stick to my better purchasing habits. I have 4 eyeshadows from this in that size that I'm trying to finish this year. And so yeah, I'm hopeful that I will be able to stick to that limit by the end of next year. I do want to work on a lot of single eyeshadows this year and getting those numbers down a little bit and finishing up some really old stuff that I really love. So I don't feel too bad about that number, but it's definitely the highest it's ever been. Although my pans of eyeshadow are pretty low. So I'm gonna go through that number in a second, but just to recap, in total this year I acquired 33 items. I decluttered 34 items. The majority of those were to classmates and friends of mine and not to the trash, although probably about 10 were. I finished 24 items. That's including single pans of eyeshadow. I am so proud of that number. That's the highest it's ever been. I'll put up a graph of these numbers. In addition to those, I also hit pan on 37 eyeshadows and hit pan on 8 face products. I'm super, super happy with that number, and you can see it is so much more than I've done in past years. So I'm very, very excited about that. All right, in terms of pans of eyeshadow, at the beginning of 2020, I had 88 pans. At the beginning of 2021, I had 248 pans of eyeshadow. And at the beginning of this year, I had 259 pans of eyeshadow. Over the course of the year, I acquired 13 pans of eyeshadow. That's 7 singles, 1 5-pan palette. I decluttered 38 pans. So that's 3 palettes and 3 singles, and I finished 3 pans of eyeshadow. I reassigned 4 into a blush, and I reassigned 4 highlighters into eyeshadow, so that's kind of nothing. And so I now have 231 pans of eyeshadow, so that's lower than at the beginning of 2021 or at the beginning of 2022. I feel really proud of that. I know that I probably don't have any palettes I'm going to declutter next year, at least that I think of. I decluttered basically all of my like basic neutral repetitive palettes, and I feel like I mostly have some pretty unique shadows now for the most part. I definitely do have duplicates, but not to the point where I would declutter a whole palette necessarily unless my feelings change significantly. So it's probably not going to go down by anywhere near as many eyeshadows next year, but I'm hoping to finish 13 eyeshadows, and I just feel like the trend is down, which makes me feel really good. So total items, which is all individual items, so all individual pans of everything, all lipsticks, all everything. In 2020, I had 162. In 2021, I had 359. At the beginning of 2022, I had 377, and now I have 326. So again, that's below my numbers for 2021 or 2022, which feels really, really good. And I know I did declutter not insignificantly, but I also used up a lot. So I'm really, really happy about that. Yeah, some numbers about my collection value, even though like it doesn't really matter. I just think it's kind of fun. In September, this is the only number I have it for, my collection value was $2,035.83, and now it's only $1,797.75. So I think that's interesting. Also in terms of total amount of product I used up in value, I keep track of my empties. I used up this year, makeup and skincare, I used up $280.68 worth of product, but it's mostly makeup because I don't really track skincare empties, which compared to past years is really good. I can also show a graph here. I have the money I spent on makeup, the number of items I bought, the amount that I finished, and the money value of the things that I finished. So you can see that this year, unlike all other years, I finished a value greater to the value that I spent on makeup. And yeah, I did still buy more things than I finished, but it's close. It's close, okay? Much closer than it's been in past years. So yeah, very excited about that. All right, I also had some goals that I set up. This was mostly in like September. I decided to set some goals, so I'm gonna go over those really quick. I might just cut this section out, but I met all my goals for primer, foundation, powder, spray, concealer. For bronzer, my goal was 3 and it's 2, so I did even better. Blush, I did exceed my goal for liquid or cream blush. I have one more. My goal was 8, my total is 9. In terms of powder highlight, my goal was 18 because I had 19 and I was like, if I can just get rid of one, that's great, but I have 10, so I'm super happy with that. I'm at my goal for cream liquid highlight, brow products, eye primer. I was hoping to have one. I was hoping to finish the one that I was working on and only have the one left, but I ended up buying one and not finishing it, so I'm at 3, which is unfortunate. I'm at my goal for pencil liner, liquid liner. For pot liner, my goal was 11 and I have 10, so I'm pretty happy about that. Mascara, I met my goal. Bullet lipstick, I'm 1 over because of that one that I found literally yesterday, but other than that, I would have met the goal. Liquid lipstick, my goal was 5 and I have 4. That was mostly because one of my lipsticks went off, which is unfortunate, but it does still feel good to have fewer. For lip gloss, my goal was 9 and I had 8, which feels really good. I was able to finish so much more than I was expecting this year. Lip liner, my goal was 2, I have 2. Cream eyeshadow. For eyeshadow palettes, my goal was 12 and I have 10, so I also feel good about that, even though I did buy one towards the end of the year. For single eyeshadows, I had set my goal at 110 because in September I had 99, but I ended up depotting quite a bit more than I kind of thought, so that's unfortunate, but I didn't buy any singles between September and now, so I feel okay about that. And also my whole collection, like total enumerated number of items goal was 340, down from 360, and I completely surpassed that goal and I'm at 324. So yeah, I think that's everything I have for my makeup inventory. I think I might talk a little bit more about the stuff I like how much I spent and all that stuff when I talk about my low buy, which is going to be its own video. It's going to have its own updates and everything. But yeah, hopefully that was a good enough chance to see everything. I really enjoyed pulling this all out and taking the pictures, and I just wanted to be able to have everything in front of me when I was talking about it, just in case I wanted to mention things. I hope I wasn't looking down or at my own face or my computer too much of the time. I know that's kind of annoying. But yeah, totally let me know your thoughts. What are your numbers like? What are your goals like? I know it's super different for everybody, but I'm really in this moment of like downsizing, using things up. I also made kind of a plan for my like ideal numbers in each category, which I thought was really interesting, trying to think about what would be a good number to have options, but also to be able to use things up so they don't go bad. It's a really interesting balance, and I'm sure that will change as my priorities change, but yeah, thank you so much for watching. I said this in the last video I filmed, but I don't know that this is gonna go up, this might go up before it, but my intro to Pan That Palette got over 1,000 views, and that absolutely blew me away. Like, that's the most I've ever gotten in any video, so thank you so much. I love that. I'm so glad. I think I got some new subscribers from that, so if you're new and you saw me because of that video, thank you so much for joining. I hope you stay and check out some other stuff. I've also gotten over 80 new subscribers in the past month, which is huge. I'm almost to 500 and I'm so happy with that, so thank you so much for the support. I'm so glad that more people are able to see my videos and just like enjoying them and everything. So yeah, if you have any suggestions for things I should do, projects I should do a little bit, but I pretty much have my projects figured out for this year, I think. Get ready for a lot of new intros, and I should go to class soon, so I will see you in the next one.